Audrey, thanks so much for coming in.
Thanks for having me. It's really exciting.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Yeah.
Do you know that I've actually met you like once before?
Yes. Before the Arias, when I interviewed Lam Cordial like 2 years ago, and you looked so beautiful. Yes.
I was mortified after that because I remember I came out and I was just like not feeling quite, you know, when you're just not feeling like beautiful.
Yeah.
And the hairdresser like made my hair really curly, and I was like, is it too big? And obviously you've got curly hair. And so I was like, and you were like, no, it's amazing. And I was like, walked into the room, I was like, I can't believe I just said to Abbie, I was like, is my hair too big?
Oh my God, no. Oh my God. I didn't even think about that. No, you look beautiful. Like, I understand when you get your hair done by someone else, when you're like, oh my God, like it doesn't look like my hair. It's completely fine. It's like when I have straight hair, I go, this is really weird.
Do you?
When it's like dead straight and it's like middle part and no volume at all, I really panic.
Really?
Like I really get like, because I feel like my head and I look like this.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like a fisheye lens.
Yeah.
But no, you looked beautiful. Yeah, I didn't think at all. I just thought you were lovely and gorgeous.
I was like on the way, because like for context, anyone listening, Ollie from Lam Cordial is my partner. So I was on the way to the Arias with him, and he's like meant to be focusing on the wards, and I'm just yapping about. I was like, I can't believe I said that.
Oh my! Oh no, you were fine. No, you were beautiful.
So I thought today, because I was like, how can I interview Abbie? You obviously have your own podcast, and I was like, how can I do an interview that is somewhat different, or we can talk about something. And then I was like, well, you've obviously grown and have made such a name for yourself within Australia and like internationally as well. And I would assume that,
international.
Some people,
like
maybe.
6 people in the UK.
And they're watching. Thanks, guys.
Hello, London.
Good morning.
Good morning, London.
But no, I was thinking like a lot of people may be only just kind of finding you or learning where, and so I thought, why don't we do like a little sort of timeline of your career and like how, you know, where you started. We don't have to go into depths on Bachelor, but just sort of how you've come to the point that you're at now, because I feel like it's quite interesting. I couldn't really find anything online that was like that.
Like a clear timeline.
Yeah, like a clear timeline.
Yeah, because it's been very random, and I keep getting offered jobs that I just don't even ask for. Like, it's really hard. I keep like doing these random jobs.
Yeah.
So I was in property before I was on The Bachelor. So I have a degree in property economics.
I know, which is so random.
So random. I'm a maths bitch.
Are you? Do you love maths?
Yeah, but not anymore. Yeah. Like I was really into maths. I think because like ADHD, I could hyperfixate. I could be like, that is correct.
Okay.
That is, you know what I mean? Rather than being like,
there's always a right answer.
Yeah.
It's not subjective.
Yeah, I think it helped me in high school as well, because I worked a lot in high school, had a very difficult high school time, the family things that were going on. And I think it was like, I know this is correct, like economics, maths, history, whereas anything extra, I was like, I don't have the capacity to
that makes sense.
do this. But now I'm the opposite, because I have more time to relax, I think. But so I applied for The Bachelor as like a silly joke, got on, and then came off, and I still worked in my other job for 6 months after, because I didn't want a career from this. Everyone seems to think that I was some mastermind.
That was was there ever a moment where you were like, I could potentially be able to grow my career at all, or was it literally like, let's just do this as fun? Oh yeah,
it was just for fun. It was literally just because I hated my job, and I was like, I can have 3 months off. Yeah. Like it was literally because it was 3 months to film it. Yeah. So it was just that I was like, this is funny, this is silly, and like I'm on, so I may as well do it. Yeah. Question mark. Yeah. And then after the show, everyone's like got a bad edit. I don't think I got a bad edit. I think the reaction to my edit by Australia was shit. So like even when you watch it back, I never said anything mean, even in Frankenbites. No,
I was watching so many like YouTube clips of what I could find online of that season, and it wasn't like,
it wasn't bad.
Everybody doesn't paint it. Everybody speaks about the villain, but it wasn't
that bad. I mean, there were obviously like the rattlesnake sounds under shots of me, but like whenever I'd ask people like
rattlesnakes,
would be like, so I'd be like going, I'm just dissociating. You know what I mean? I'm just like this, and it's like, or like when I walk into somewhere, I'd be like, and I'd be like, some like sexy, but I'm just anxious. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I'd be like staring at someone, but it's me just like looking at a light and being like, is it working?
Yeah. It's really bright.
Yeah. Why is it flickering? What's up? Is that fairy light out with alarms? So it was, the edit actually wasn't even that bad. Like my friends we'd all watch it together. My friends from Brisbane, and one of my friends would have my phone and be deleting bad messages, and the other 4 of us, or whoever, however many, we'd watch it, and every episode would be like, That wasn't even bad. Nothing bad happened. Like, the music was a bit weird, but like, I didn't do anything bad.
Yeah.
And then we'd go on social media and be like, kill yourself, bitch, strangle yourself, fucking, like, it would be like.
That gnarly.
Yeah, like I had to block the words from my comments like death, bash, punch, hit, because it would be like, I'm going to bash you if I see you, I'm going to hit you if I see you. I had people in public come up to me and be like, you're a fucking bitch to my face. Yeah, and I would literally be like, what did I do on the show? They're like, you're just a fucking bitch.
People just want to hate.
Yeah, well, I think people just didn't like people were saying it was overt sexuality, but I just was dating a guy for 3 months and said, I want to fuck you. God forbid I want to fuck a guy.
No one's ever said that before.
No
one's ever said that. Yeah.
Imagine dating Ollie the first 3 months, you didn't fuck, you couldn't touch each other, you just had to kiss like this, and you go, I want to fuck you. And as though that's like crazy. You know what I mean?
Totally.
So that was that. And then after the show, because of that edit, I was like, this is insane and really weird. So then I started posting about the edit just to be like, not even about the edit, just to be like, why are you all so mad? Like, you guys got mad that I wore a bikini in a pool. There were comments being like, fucking slut.
It's Australia.
It's fucking Australia.
It's like, it doesn't even matter that it's Australia. You can wear a bikini wherever you want, but like,
we're Australians.
Walk 20 seconds to the beach.
Literally. And also, like, how often do you see someone in Coles in bikinis and
every day.
No shoes?
Every
like,
day.
That's just
summer.
What's our culture?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's our culture. So that happened. Then I kind of was, writing long Instagram captions. And then I got asked to start to write for Women, which used to be on news.com. It was like a female-led thing, and I would write like articles. And then I started doing little advice columns.
This is after The Bachelor.
After The Bachelor. And then I started the podcast because I kept ranting about... I kept ranting about things on my Instagram stories, and everyone would be like, make a podcast. Yeah. And I was a very heavy podcast bitch at the time. This is like 5 years ago. So then I got the mics, again, ADHD, hyperfixated, set up till 4 a.m. drawing, tracing over a photo of me and drawing the podcast art that was the art for 4 years. And then, and then I went to get the microphones from DJ City, and then the recorder, and then I could kind of use Adobe because I did IT in high school, and I just started recording it. But that was the first week of COVID lockdown.
Yeah, right.
So that kind of worked to my advantage because everyone was stuck in their houses. Nothing to do.
So just quickly, how do you, if you're getting, people telling you all these horrible things, and then you obviously must have been receiving, some sort of love from people at the same time, right? To be thinking, I want to start a podcast, because you wouldn't do that if you thought the whole world hated you, right?
So it was when I first came off, it would have been 90 hate, 10% good. Yeah. But then as I started explaining, because it was maybe 8 months between the last episode airing and the podcast starting, so it kind of had changed the perception, I think. Also, I was on a show called Reputation Rehab on the ABC. Which was about people having there were some people that actually did some fucked up shit, but mine was how things are edited, reality TV and how it's edited. So I think people kind of were coming around to that because by the next season of The Bachelor, suddenly everyone's like, yes, female power, sexuality, and I'm going, the same people are fucking... So I think people just were weirdly shocked by it and they got over the shock or understood that it was... I also think, honestly, a part of it is that trends in sexual wellness it was happening at the same time, and people were kind of... this is going to sound so cynical, but I think people just realised that it wasn't, that they were in the minority then if they were being slut-shaming, so they just performatively were yes, queen, and I'd scroll up in their DMs if they were yes, love this queen, and 4 months before it'd be die slut. So...
same people.
Yeah, often. At that point it was
bizarre that they would
because they're replying to my stories and they don't realise that I can scroll up. Do you know what I mean? When you reply to a story...
Right. Oh, so they don't realise that they've already messaged you prior in the past.
Yeah. Or I'll get people in person now, I'll be I used to troll you. And I'm why are you telling me that? Why are you telling me that?
Keep some things close to your chest.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Zip.
It's okay.
Zip. Yeah.
You don't need to share.
Exactly.
Everything.
So, so that change in, public perception, I think. Because also I was made out to be stupid on The Bachelor, which, whatever. I think it's just easy for people to assume someone who is vocal about sexuality is also stupid, which is silly because actually usually means intelligence.
Totally,
and
100%,
you know,
100%.
Like being able to vocalize things.
Yeah. At this point, when you're starting the podcast, so you've done like the ABC show and you've done the...
I think so.
Right.
Yeah, I think I did the ABC show.
Do you feel your career starting to sort of take shape at all, or is it still kind of very much like up in the air, not really sure what you're doing?
It's very just like up in the air, because I was still working in real estate until December of the year before, and this is March. And so then... Yeah, I think I was just like, I can earn the same amount of money from Instagram as I could from my 9 to 5. So I'll just do this until I can't get another real estate job or something. Like I was like, I just want to break from this nightmare and like working a 9 to 5 while also getting like trolled constantly. And then I kept like, I would like cry all day at work because I would just be getting like, just like, it was very different than with The Bachelor. Obviously now no one really watches it, hence why it's cancelled. But like back then it was like I'd get in a taxi and there would be someone on the radio saying that I was like, there was someone who was interviewing Matt, The Bachelor, and was like, if you choose her, you'll be the most hated person in the country because she's the worst person in the country. And it's like, I'd done nothing wrong on the show. And I was 23.
That's like, where are you with your family at all during this, or are you just by yourself?
Yeah, living with Mum. Okay. Mum was really worried. Mum would come and like check on me when I was sleeping. But yeah, my friends were really good, and like I just had to keep thinking, you know, like if I put my phone down, my life is the same as it was before. So it doesn't just, I just had to like get out of that. Yeah. And once I could have a right of reply, then it was fine. Then it was like, what, like, this is so weird that you guys are so angry at me for this.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So then, the podcast, I was just sort of like, I may as well just put all my thoughts into this and see. Because I didn't even realise like how I could get money from it or like...
Really, it was just to have something to do during COVID.
Well, COVID hadn't... So I recorded the first 2 episodes in like the end of February, and then March 8th, I think was the first one that came out, and then lockdown was like March 13th or something like that. Like it was like... I remember the first episode, I'd listened to it on my phone to see if it sounded okay on the last flight I took before COVID lockdown started. I remember someone was coughing on the flight and someone was like, oh, is it that COVID thing? Ha, ha, ha. And then,
that's crazy.
Yeah, so it was like...
How many, when you started it, was it like a lot of people tuning in?
It was like 10,000 downloads, which is like...
That's still amazing for like the first episode.
Yeah, it was pretty good. I thought it'd be like 4 people listening. Yeah. So I moved to Sydney and then I signed with Nova, and then I hosted the Love Island after show.
Well, Nova, because radio, I was actually talking to Ollie about this because he was saying he was talking to you about radio and how you didn't realise that you were able to just not play any song you sort of wanted to play on radio.
Well, yeah, so I did that at Listener with 2Day FM, so I moved to 2Day FM, but it really infuriated me. Not that like I thought that I could have every single song that I wanted, but I was kind of like, why are we playing 3 Ed Sheeran songs in a 2-hour time slot? Like, how is it helping Australian music? How is it helping music in general?
Because you're quite like passionate about Australian music.
Yeah, I think because like all the music that I listen to, I think being on radio made me like kick into gear about it because all the music that I listen to, and I'm sure that you listen to, even despite the fact that you're with Ollie, but people our age that are my friends, we're all listening to only Australian music or mainly Australian music. Yet on radio, there's none of that being played. No. And like, you know, even Lime Cordiale, I was like, can we play like 1 song a week? And they'd be like, it's not mainstream enough. I'm like, they sell at the Horden. I'm not sure
like what box does it need
internationally. Like it isn't like I'm asking for some random person, which also should be allowed to be an independent artist. But it's like, even like I remember, you know, think people as big as Flume. It was like,
really?
It's like, so it was kind of like this thing where, unless it was, I mean, because how do I say this? Because some people like really, their management and their labels really play into the commercial radio scene. But it takes so much effort and energy. Like there's no, oh my God, how do I say this? There's not as much payoff as there used to be in, for example, like Lime Cordiale going around and doing every single radio thing. Because it's like, well, if it's on socials and if it's by word of mouth, people going to their shows, then sure. But like, unless you're like playing the commercial radio game, you don't get plays. And plays don't really mean anything on the radio anymore.
No, they don't.
It's all like
it's all online. It's all streaming. It's all
yeah. So it's just this thing where like it isn't worthwhile for a lot of artists, but also it's not worthwhile because there isn't that expectation that commercial radio will be somewhere to find new music.
Yeah.
So it's this like. Yeah. You know, it's this, like, they're both kind of like pulling at each other. There's this tension between the two. Like, I wanted to keep doing it, but I quit radio in general. But it was just like such a head fuck. There are so many roadblocks, and I just think that like all the creative industries in this country are run by absolute, like, there's no movement, there's no like change. It's the same people that ran it in the early 2000s.
100%.
Which is great, you have experience, but you aren't listening to people of what actually people want.
Yes, right. And you're like, if you're catering to the youth or to the 18 to 35 even demographic, but if there's not, who's in your team that's explaining to you what those people are wanting and what they're looking for. Like it's great that you, like you said, like you have experience and all that sort of stuff, but you need to include people from each sort of, what's the word? Demographic.
Yeah, exactly. And I think like there's also, I don't know, it's also very hard because obviously the culture has changed in terms of how people find music. But also it isn't like, there are still big Australian bands that then have to go international and leave you alone at home. I'm going, poor Daphne's alone at home.
Yeah, honestly.
But like to get any money, get anywhere in their careers, push things bigger and bigger and bigger because Australia, there's a ceiling. Because
you plateau and then all of a sudden it's like, what's the next big thing in Australia? We don't care about not that lime cordial, people care, but eventually, if you don't go overseas, then people just sort of stop
change their attention.
100%.
And then with festivals being cancelled and lineups being like big headline acts, American or internationals cancelling. It's like no one's going to these festivals. But the issue is that Australian music isn't being fostered, and therefore there are no Australian acts in the lineups because no one wants to pay to go see an Australian act. But then then the international cancels and there's only Australian headlines. Everyone goes, what a shit lineup. But there's so much talent in Australia.
Oh my gosh,
and it just fucks my head. I just am like, this is the most infuriating system. And it isn't, people think that it's because I'm with Adam now. It's like, no, I've been enraged about this.
100%.
That's how I met Adam, because I was interviewing him. So
I don't think people realise like when that you've been like involved with music for quite a while.
Because I feel like as well, it used to be a thing even before COVID. I don't know about you and your friends, but like where you like, I went to see Lime Cordiale play at Black Bear Lodge, like which is where Adam plays now, with Kelly Holiday, and it's like, I think it's like 100 and something people.
Ollie has told me, he's like, because I remember when you were just sort of coming, and he was like, I know her. And I was like, really? And he's like, yeah. She's always at the front of our concerts, like, I fucking love
But so it was a thing where, like, I think culturally, even previously, there was this idea that like going out to a gig was a social event.
Totally.
But now it's kind of like, because of streaming,
so much thought and stuff goes into it. Like, even I'm going to see like Idols in January next year, and I've been really keen to see them. But I still, for some reason, it took me this while, like, oh, do I want to spend the money, or oh, do I like? And I'm like, no, like, I want to go and see this band because I'm interested in seeing a new band. And also, you can't put a price on an experience that is like being in a room full of people who are all like completely immersed in this thing that's going on, and it's like, it gives me goosebumps. Like, it's the best feeling in the world. And I agree, like, what I used to have no second thought about it. I'm like, I'm going to the gig, and now it's like this weird.
Now I'm like, do I like them enough to go and see them live? Do I know all the work? And then I feel like I have to like study for it, but it's like that isn't an event in itself.
Totally.
And I think I don't know how that would even come back. So it's like, I think people are only going to their favourite bands rather than being like, oh, what's on at this venue? You know, whereas like before COVID, it was more it would be like a friend would be like, do you want to come and see, I don't know, Ocean Alley, even though everyone's heard of them, but do you want to come see Ocean Alley? And if I hadn't heard of them before, it would still be like, great. You know, or you go, I remember going to Laneway and I didn't know most of the acts on the lineup, but I came out going, I love Mac DeMarco. I love, you know, like I had never heard of this person before, but now I'm obsessed. And you sit and wait and you'd be like, oh, who's next? But now it's like you won't even, it used to be tickets for festivals to an experience of going to a festival, like being at Splendor, and it didn't really matter who was in the lineup. Whereas almost I feel like it used to be like kind of a joke where you'd be like, I don't even know who's playing. Like, I'm here, I don't even know who's playing. Whereas now it's like these headline acts have to draw people out of their homes to come and do it, which isn't anyone's fault, but it's a very weird culture shift.
But I do think it has the COVID, like I think after COVID, I've been like, oh, what time am I going to get home? How am I going to get home?
Yes.
And I never used to before. It was like, I'll just get home.
Yeah,
like,
but are we just getting old?
I'm not going to, maybe.
See, I don't know.
Maybe, I don't know.
Is it just that we're older, or is it that things have changed?
Well, maybe a bit of both. Like I became so homebody, obviously during COVID because you had no option. And now it's like the thought of going, I have to like plan the whole thing, but it's like, stay young.
Stay young, kids.
You know,
stay young.
You know,
stay young. That's our message from us to you. Thank you so much.
Because it's more fun.
I think as well, people tend to, I don't know if I'm just crazy thinking this, but I feel like people then only go to see a headline act. They don't care to go for the opener anymore.
Yeah.
Maybe because of that, they want to spend as little time out as possible.
That's true, yeah.
Or they want to know the words to a song. I think we're forgetting that.
But maybe that's like the
TikTok
effect as well. You know, like all these like now musicians strive to get this viral moment on TikTok because that's how they like. And it does work. Like you look at Royal Otis, like going and like.
Oh my God.
Like it's like the note on the dance floor. It's completely like accelerated their career, and so I get it. But it's like. People go now only wanting to see the bands that they know that one line from, like the Steve Lacy line that they know from TikTok, rather than supporting these emerging artists who, sure, you've never heard the music, but like they're, I don't know, for Ollie it's really hard. He's like, I don't want to focus all my time on trying to go viral on TikTok. I want to do my craft.
Music. They want to make music. Adam's the same. Adam's like, I hate this shit. I hate this shit so much because that's not their thing. Thank God they have us. My God.
Just shouting it out this whole time. Just like,
We're like, thank God. You guys should be so grateful. We're so supportive.
You talk a lot about sexuality and everything like that, and I just wanted to go back to like your mum because you were saying like your mum would check in on you and like you're quite close with your parents and your family.
My mum,
Yeah. So I was wondering because I think I'm not somebody who's like, no, can't talk about sex, but I think I'm still quite reserved because I grew up in a household that we didn't talk about sex and it wasn't like a super open conversation. But do you think you're so comfortable with like speaking openly and like you were on the show on The Bachelor because did you grow up in a like household where it was just an easy open conversation?
No, not really. No, I think it's because I think going to an all-girls school. Did you go to an all-girls school?
Yeah.
I think I go to an all-girls school and us just like constantly openly yapping about like all these things. I think that may have helped. I think as well it actually isn't that my mum was particularly like open with sex because she really wasn't. Yeah. I think it was more that I didn't have a dad, so there wasn't like patriarchy in the home.
Yeah.
Like it was just, and my grandma was an orphan. So my grandma had no, and was raised by nuns. So my grandma had no men raising her, and then my mum, we had my pa, but he had a stroke, so he was disabled when I was really young. And then I didn't have a dad. So there weren't any like patriarchal figures in our family. So maybe it was that there was no shame instilled. It wasn't that it was particularly celebrated. But it was just that there was no like even like side comments or like people commenting on how someone was dressing or, you know what I mean? It was just that there was no subconscious kind of feeling of like, oh, what you can wear that, you can't wear that.
Yeah, interesting.
You know what I mean? So I think it was just that. But I also was like very rule abiding and still am a very like rule abiding person.
Yeah, right.
I have family that teachers, dentists and doctors, so very
I know. I was listening to you talk about that. That's so
I know. So I'm very like by the book and I don't like to break rules
which is interesting because you talk quite openly about so many things where people would probably think
that's a rule,
that you're quite rebellious in a way, you know.
Everyone thinks I'm like some crazy party girl and I'm like I'm always 2 k's under the speed limit. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm like shitting myself at all times. I'm gonna get in trouble.
Yeah.
But like not that I got in trouble when I was younger, but I just like always just followed rules. So I don't think that like maybe mum didn't have to have conversations with me talking about how like to not have sex or I was never in trouble. Yeah. So maybe that's what it is. Maybe. Is that like I was also parented in a way that was like mum being a teacher, it was very much like positive reinforcement and therefore I didn't break rules because I was just being like, I'm just me, and then mum just thought I was fabulous and amazing. And we didn't really like really talk about sex openly until I was in like my mid-20s.
Okay. Oh really? Oh right.
Yeah, like even like even like the vibrator, like we spoke about it vaguely, but it's not like we're like talking about sex in detail.
What about with your sister? Because you're the younger sister?
Yeah.
Did you speak with your sister about stuff? Like
not really. Yeah, right. Like, that's the thing. I just feel like, because to me, I don't think that I'm overtly sexual. I think I just don't have a filter.
Yeah.
So maybe it comes from the lack of, that's where I think it comes from the lack of, like, oppressive male figure in the house. Because it isn't that I don't think that I'm being crazy saying that, like, vibrators feel good.
No, that's not a crazy thing to say. Yeah.
So it also could be that maybe the things that we watched growing up, having a single parent, they weren't like kid things.
Yeah.
And we'd speak a lot about like politics and the news and the economy and my family would just talk about all these things.
Interesting.
A lot.
That's interesting, which is then giving you like that critical lens on the world.
Yeah.
And you can critically think about things a little bit, maybe.
Yeah, maybe it's that. And I think Mum is also very like, she's very like, again, she's very rule abiding, but she's also like, oh, who's it hurting? So maybe that's kind of what it is as well. Like, if it's not hurting someone, she's very like, oh, let them have fun,
Yeah. And you just always kind of never you just listened to what Mum said and that was that?
Yeah, but Mum didn't really have to say anything.
Yeah, because you just didn't want to?
Yeah, I just was like, I don't know, I just didn't really think about, I didn't want to be naughty because it would make Mum's life harder.
Yeah, okay.
So like having a single parent, I'm like, I'm not going to make her life harder.
Recognise that, because like my mum was a single mum as well, and it took me and I was actually a really rebellious child. So me and my mum fought a lot, and it took me quite a long time to kind of mature enough to realise how much Mum actually sacrificed and did for me.
Yeah.
But do you think you realised that when you were in high school, you were aware?
I think a bit because we had some other family things going on in the house.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think a bit, but I was still a little shit. Like I was a teenage girl, you know. But I think that maybe, I worked a lot in high school because of some money things, and I think it was just that I had responsibilities when I was like 13.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And I was kind of like, and I'm a few, even like things with chores and stuff. Like, I'm trying to write a book at the moment, and I was writing a chapter about like domestic labour, and it was just that if we all do the laundry, it's faster if we all do it. Yeah. For me and our household, it worked well. Yeah. Us just being like, that's just what we do.
I know, my mum always, it's like still sticks with me until now, like if you do something right once, you just don't have to do it again. And you just, and I've always think about that all the time. Like if I don't really want to do something, I just have to get up and do it right and correctly, and then I don't have to think about it anymore. And that was always the kind of saying in the house. And
I love that.
Yeah.
Genius.
Our mum's very clever woman.
Yes.
Yeah. I would say one word to describe you would be resilient.
Ooh,
and
maybe.
you can agree or disagree from my lens, right? And then I guess I'm curious because I've been watching a lot of interviews, and there was one you did with Osher, and you were talking about how you can be quite insecure and you can all these things, but then you kind of have a lot of heavily opinionated online. How can the two different sort of versions exist, the anxious but then the also really willing to put yourself out there and speak your mind?
I think it's just the ADHD and having opinions, and I kind of word vomit. So it's people often ask me how are you so brave?
Yeah.
Just speak your mind. And I'm well, the option is being it bubbling up inside me and me being fuck this, fuck this, fuck this, fuck this. So it's more that I just can't not speak about things.
Interesting.
And my insecurities don't come from people having a go at me for my correct opinions.
Yeah.
It's more that it feels like I don't know if you've started to get this as well as you've gotten a following, but the things that drive me insane are when the example that I always give is one time during lockdown, I fucking uploaded a video of me making Nescafe Blend 43, a fucking instant coffee. And I got multiple DMs, people telling me that I made the coffee wrong. And it's they've been yeah, you should put the milk in before this. I'm it's Blend 43.
Totally.
And it's it's Blend 43, you don't have to correct me and everything. It's kind of I think the thing that drives me insane is this not that it isn't a two-way conversation, but I made videos about it, being would you say this to someone, a stranger at a dinner party?
100%.
If you saw someone at a dinner party and they were making coffee, would you go, you're meant to put the milk in first.
Right? I know, everyone has an opinion. You could post, I could post myself like being like, making my avocado crustkits or whatever, and there's be somebody there. Oh, the thing in the background of your house is actually really like, and it's like...
It's really dangerous.
Yeah.
Everything is like at a 10, and it's you would never say this to a stranger. 100%. And not even the way of like, be kind, in a way of like, have social cues, like have some fucking decorum in being like, oh, like I made a video about like outfits and people were like, no, full stop. And I'm like, you realise that's rude. Like if I saw you and you were like, oh, I didn't know if I should wear a purple top or I should wear a blue top, and I went, nope. Yeah. You'd be like, you're a cunt.
It's so rude. It's so rude.
It's so rude. But if I was like, oh, the purple looks so good, but like I want to see a photo of the blue. It's like, it's different ways to like communicate with people. 100%. And I think TikTok is making it much worse because, not to sound like a boomer, but like, because people can... With Instagram, you feel a connection to the person you're following because you've chosen to follow them. Yeah,
totally. So you feel like you know them because you follow them, like talking daily on the, like, you know, I do use TikTok kind of like I'm on FaceTime to a friend.
Yes. Where you go,
I'll be lying in bed and I'll be like, this is a funny thought that I've just had. Let's talk about it for a second.
Yes.
And so then people feel like they have this accessibility to you because they think they know you, but it's like you don't know.
You don't know me. And also... people who don't know who you are at all can come across your video and then they can comment something mean and just swipe and forget 100%. You exist.
A lot of the ones I get sometimes is if I'm like standing there like, you're looking really skinny at the moment. Are you okay? And I'm like, I'm fine.
I'm fine. I don't know you.
I don't know you. You don't need to comment on my body. Yeah. Like it's just not, and maybe I'm not okay. And that's not a good thing to say to me
exactly.
right now. Like, you know.
Yeah. I lost a lot of weight accidentally when I started deck season, also after COVID lockdown stopped, because I got a dog and I was walking a lot and like I stopped drinking basically. Like I still drink, but like I don't really drink. And I accidentally lost all this weight that I didn't even notice was happening. And I get comments all the time being like, hey Queen, you've lost a lot of weight, are you okay? Or your body looks better than ever. Oh my God, what's your workout routine? And it's like, I just don't know why we're still commenting on people's bodies.
Totally. Honestly.
And then it's like, are you on Ozempic? And then it's like, no, she's got a coke.
Yeah, and then they comment and have a chat about it in your comments.
What they think's up with you, and you're like, I'm getting notifications. I'm getting ding, 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 and I'm going, okay, cool. I'm glad we're all figuring it out.
Sometimes I like look at them and I'm like, you know, I can read this, right? Like,
thank you so much.
And I can click on your profile. I can see your face. It's like so bizarre. It's bizarre. I find people that comment, like commenting cute stuff. There's a few people because like I love the community that I've built, and there's a few people that I actually DM that I've never met before, but I just like love these women who are just like super supportive. Love them. But then there's some people I'm like, okay. We don't need to say everything that's on our mind.
Yeah, every opinion about me and my life when we've never met. Like if you saw me on the street, I wouldn't recognise you.
No.
So it's just the like patronising 100%. And the like talking down to people as a default. And I think people who like you would think are nice in person are doing it because they don't think they're trolls. I think they're just stating their opinion. Like, I'm allowed to have an opinion. It's like, you can have an opinion, but I'm also allowed to reply to you in a way that the same way that you've commented. Oh my God,
absolutely. It's like you're surprised that you're getting the same sort of energy back that you've given to me.
Yeah, like someone commented that you should check where your boyfriend's been if you're getting UTIs, see what he's been up to because you can get it through. And I was like, shut the fuck up. And everyone's like, don't bully this person. And I'm like, they said that my boyfriend's cheating on me?
And I'm not allowed to tell them to shut the fuck up.
Yeah, they go, just reply with kindness. And I go, who the fuck are you? If in person, if we're at dinner and I went, and you're like, I've got all these UTIs, and I go, Daphne, I think you should call Ollie and ask him where he's been. You'd be like, shut, get the fuck out of my laundry.
And like also do some research because UTIs, getting them like, you don't just get them if your partner's cheating on you. There's other ways you can contract.
It's from my bad pelvic floor, okay? I got the first one I ever got was at Splendor when I was watching Outcast because I didn't wait 14 hours, okay? Everyone must know, okay?
You've got it now.
Andre 3000, his little flute. Also, like the resilience thing is like, it's just like, I can't, but I'm sure you're the same, like, you know, habit now where like you have a thought and you go, I'm just going to blurt this out to the internet and whatever. And I think as well, the ADHD, I'll say things and I'll just be like, poof, it's out of my head.
You didn't sometimes even remember saying it?
Yeah, like there was that thing, although that was a joke, the thing about me going into politics. Do you see that?
Oh my God, yes. Oh my God. And it really, people ran with it. Like, people ran with it.
People were like, and I was getting like trolled for it. And it's like, God, have a fucking laugh. Like people were like, and would you go into politics? My answer was, if F-Boy Island doesn't get a third season. It's obviously a joke.
Oh my God.
It's obviously a joke. People like, Abbie has political aspirations. Instead of being trolled, saying
there was like articles about it and things, right?
Full-blown articles. Like, even like, from like, not just from Daily Mail. And I was going, are you cunts actually okay? Like, but then the thing is, like, headlines don't really bother me. It's like the trolling that comes from it when I'm that's not what I said.
And you've taken everything out of context. Yeah. And now you're like really like building an absolute world of a scenario that's not a thing.
It's not a thing at all.
It's not a thing.
So yeah, the resilience thing, I mean, I'm just very soft and mushy and sad, and Adam deals with me crying at least like twice a week. But, you know, well, the alternative as well is, I was talking to Amy from Amel. And on the podcast, my podcast, she said, you know, I think of, you know, the negative feedback as tax. You know, like you earn more, you pay more tax.
Yeah.
You have more profile, you get more pay, and you just got to like kind of accept that that's just like the payment that you have to make to have the career.
I want to quickly ask about Adam, because you're in such a beautiful place right now, and I just wanted to wrap up on a happy, like, loving, like, note. How do you know with Adam, like, that you are in a secure relationship rather than the anxious attachment?
Well, I think I've discovered that I actually wasn't ever anxiously attached in general as me. I was more anxiously attached to neglectful partners. So, like, there was no, like, obviously there's always work to be done on mental health for me personally, but when I dated Adam, it was like, I was really scared, and then I just was like, oh, I believe you and I love you. So I think that it was like, he's just an attentive, nice partner. And I think for so long I've been told by partners in one way or another, whether it's blatantly told or it's, you know, the more that I ask for very base level things, the more I'm shut down. I was told in a way that like something's wrong with you and what you want isn't right, and like you need to work on your anxious attachment. And I think this whole attachment styles thing is useful, but I think it's useful in terms of like, if you are with a secure partner and you are unregulated, then that's useful.
Yes.
But if someone's avoidant and someone's anxious, and you can name that dynamic, but most of the time, in my experience, the avoidant actually is just a shitty partner, and you're just trying to fix their mistakes. Like, and when I say I was anxiously attached, like, I think the actual definition is like, you are like seeking more than necessary validation, right? You're like texting over and over again. I had an ex-boyfriend, he didn't talk to me for 4 days. We had plans for dinner. 4 days. He didn't come to dinner, obviously.
Did you go?
No. Okay. But I texted him 3 times in 4 days. That is an anxious attachment. That's actually quite secure to be like, I mean, I was freaking out, but like my behavior wasn't aligned with that. And I think that like this over pathologizing of our attachment styles actually just makes us particularly as women, makes excuses for men in cis-hetero relationships and say, they just avoid it. Well, actually, in most relationships, they just avoid it, and I'm anxious, so it's my fault. And they have their traumas. It's like, then why aren't they in therapy? Why aren't they working on it? Have they communicated to you that they're avoidant, or are you saying that they're avoidant? Because when you're saying that they're avoidant, you're just making an excuse for them.
Yes, an excuse, 100%.
And I feel like we need to have less empathy for men. It's like my new saying, because I'm like, I have Nightmare Fuels, my podcast, and all these stories, I'm like, and I'm the same as these women, not saying like they need to change, but like we spend so much time, even with our girlfriends, being like, maybe
breaking it down and like being like, maybe it's because of this, or he's got this going on, or it's very hard for him because he grew up in this family dynamic, or he didn't learn from his mother or whoever how to treat, or like he had no women in his life growing up, so he's never been around women, so he doesn't know. When it's like, we could just be like, the reality is this person is not as engaged in this relationship as I want them to be, so I should get away from them. And it's not my job to try and like coach him for the next 10 years till hopefully he finds the way to treat me properly. Exactly. So it's like, with Adam, I had gone through an abusive relationship, and I was just like, and because I was friends with Adam before, I was like, I also felt like I was able to just be clear if it came to that, and being like, don't be a dick, Adam, like the fuck. But I
I felt like I was at a point where I was like, I'm just going to be alone. So like, because I can't do this. And I just need to communicate clearly to not get into a bad situation again. What I want, and I actually can't handle this bullshit anymore. I don't want any more excuses because I gave my ex so many excuses and on before that. And it's actually fucking traumatized me. And even now, like Adam's dealing with PTSD that I have from a myriad of different things. And it's like the more time you spend on a shitty relationship, the more traumatized you are and the harder it's going to be for you to settle into a safe relationship. And like the right person will wait for you and they will help you and if you're able to communicate and blah, 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 blah. But I've been with Adam now, like, you know, for almost, I mean, it's been almost a year since we started like fully hectically talking when he went to America. And even like last week, I'm like sobbing and having like flashbacks of PTSD things from, I've been with him longer than I was with the previous partner. So it's like, he's still dealing with all of that. And like, but that doesn't come from an anxious attachment place because he's just clear and communicative. So it's like, just find a secure, I think like people should just, women particularly, should just find an actually secure partner and also that you actually like. Because everyone would be like, you just don't like that guy because you think he's boring because he isn't activating your fight or flight. And they gaslight me even more. And it's like, actually, they were boring.
Yes, they were boring.
They were boring. They were boring for me.
If you're not with somebody who you can't grow from and learn from and who challenges you and like inspires you and makes you want to be a better person, not only for yourself, not only for them, like and reciprocate, but for yourself, you know, like I continuously look to Ollie and I'm like, God, you like inspire me every single day because like I wasn't, you know, I was a primary school teacher before I did this.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
My God, my mum's a primary school teacher.
I hated it.
It's fucked. Mum always says never be a teacher.
So like I hated it. And then watching Ollie like do something that he loves was so difficult. So it just continuously and to be with somebody who, when I said to him, I don't want to do teaching anymore, I want to do this, only ever supported me. You know? And even though it's not the easy road to take, and even though it's taking like a lot longer to like do certain things and I'm learning along the way, there's never been a moment where he's like, well, you know,
maybe you should go back to the safe option.
Never. You know, and I just couldn't be with somebody who wasn't like, you know,
like who didn't inspire you.
Well, it's
because
like,
it's really important.
It's really important.
And to admire your partner as well.
100%.
And I feel like people who have been in abusive relationships or just in toxic relationships or have had hard upbringings or whatever, particularly if you have a single mother, you get told like, it's your daddy issues and that's why you're going for someone who's not, and you just need to learn to be bored and be okay with being bored. And it's like, but I shouldn't be bored 3 months in with this person and like be tensing up taking them to functions because I have to entertain the both of us.
Oh my God, right? And babysitting.
Yes. Whereas with Adam, it's like, oh, he's everything. And I just wish that I'd not let this attachment style shit
take over.
I feel like it's useful in certain dynamics, but I think only if both people are trying, and all it does then is just gaslight the anxiously attached person.
That's
because
so true.
I didn't have to work at all on being securely attached at all.
No,
not at all. Like it wasn't
because
like,
it comes.
Like I trust him. My issues have come from my PTSD and flashbacks. It would be happening if he was there or not. But it's been lovely.
It's so much fun watching you be so happy. Like all the like bongo, like the collabs you're doing at the moment. It's just so nice to see, because I think it's also so important for people to just, I think, see what that a relationship can be like childlike as well, you know? And it can be like, I feel like when I was watching it, I was like, it's really cool because a lot of people come home from their work at the end of the day and they'll sit in front of the telly and they won't talk to each other and they won't this and this. But like to take the time to actually do something that's not only collaborative but is just fun and like silly, and to also be comfortable enough in a space where you can just be, you know, like like it's kind of hard sometimes, and it's a rarity to be comfortable enough with your partner to be like, let's, you know, it's like vulnerable. You know, it is quite a vulnerable
and like
thing.
singing is vulnerable. Like I can fucking sing, you know what I mean? And the arias in the background, and I'm going, you know what I mean? It's like, that's fucking embarrassing for me. Like, what the fuck is up with that?
But it's great.
But it's fine because he even after I don't like, I watch the video back and I go, that's so fucked. And I'm like, you killed that baby. And I go, shut up. But it's really nice to have fun.
But he means it as well,
He means
it.
He means it. But he thinks I do everything perfectly.
Which like, so he should.
Oh no.
So he should, you know.
But it's really nice to just have fun with him. And also like, we intentionally put time aside. I think you'd have the same thing with Ollie, where it's like, because they're away, I mean, Adam isn't away for long periods, but he's away really often. Like it's most weeks he's away for 2 or 3 nights doing a show.
Yeah.
And then, or I'm away for work.
Yeah.
So it's like, we'll intentionally be like, okay, so tonight we're going to put our phones away and we're going to listen to music and we're going to, you know, put on this record or whatever and just sit there.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you don't have any quality time. No. But I think it is really useful for people who don't have that dynamic of people going away to not just sit in front of the TV.
Well, because I feel like you fall into like a bit of a rut in a way of just being like, this is normalcy, this is what we do every night, and not thinking that you can create that closeness again.
Exactly. It becomes like mentally lazy.
Yes, yeah. And it's not to say that those people aren't happy. I'm sure.
No.
It's not that. It's just more like, it's just so fun. Like it's
so
just so fun and so nice to be able to give that time to each other.
I know, it's so beautiful. Yeah. And then the omnicord has really brought us back. Everyone get an omnicord.
You should get an omnicord tattoo together. Like,
hang on. Hold on. But it's gorgeous. It's been so much fun. It's the best. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming on today. I'm so happy. It's been such a pleasure. And I think that's everything from me. Are you good, Hugh?
Yeah.
Love it. Thanks, Coach.